besties, welcome to my October reading wrap up. Today we're going to be going through the 4 books that I read in the month of October. I am so excited. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of the books that I'm going to be talking about, and let me know what your favorite book that you read in October was. I would love to know. But with that all being said, let's hop right into the October reading wrap up. So I started the month off strong by reading Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Did you guys know this is her debut novel? Because after I finished the book, I went on Goodreads to give my review, and then that's when I found out that this is her debut novel, and I was in shock. This is not your typical romance book. This book is mainly focusing on loss of a loved one, healing, grief, moving on. That is the main premise of this book. So in this book, we follow the relationship between Elsie and Ben. Elsie and Ben basically got married within 6 months of knowing each other, and Elsie never actually got to meet Ben's parents or anything like that. And within a week of them being married, Ben unfortunately passes away, and this basically follows the aftermath of Ben's death and watching Elsie as she struggles to heal and move on and grieve and all of that. And also you get to see the dynamic between Elsie and Ben's mother. Ben's mother obviously didn't even know who Elsie was, the fact that Ben was married. So you get to see like them tackle all of that and see how their relationship develops as well. That was just so interesting for me to read about. And you also get past and present tense, so you actually get to see how Ben and Elsie met, follow them through their relationship. You get so invested. Like the way that Taylor Jenkins Reid writes her characters make them feel so real, like they come out of the pages. Like you feel so connected and invested in these characters' lives, and this book made me feel that way, and I just adored this book. Especially the fact that like obviously these characters only knew each other for 6 months before they got married, and obviously you would think that is very soon, but when you read this book you see like the connection that Ben and Elsie had with each other, and like they were each other's person. And this book really dealt with grief really well, and I loved seeing Elsie's relationship with Ben's mother, how they started from like the very beginning to how their relationship was by the end of the book, and how they kind of found healing within each other. Like that was just so beautifully written. I really enjoyed this book. I rated this one 4 stars. I highly recommend. Then I read Chase Me by Tessa Bailey. This is a little rom-com. Unfortunately, this book was my lowest rated book of the month. I really did not enjoy this story at all. It was so boring. It was just not for me, unfortunately. I will say it's like 250 pages long, so it is very quick, but this book is heavily focused on physical attraction, and it's very lust based. There's no like love, so if you're looking for a romance book with, you know, an emotional depth, this book does not have that, unfortunately. Basically we follow this girl named Roxy. She is an aspiring actress, but she's really struggling. She finally gets her apartment that she shares with 2 other girls, and then she meets this guy named Louis, who she's actually like a singing telegram for one day. That's how they meet. And Louis is like this hotshot rich lawyer, and he is obsessed with Roxy from the very get-go. Like it's very insta-lust, I wouldn't even say insta-love, because there's no love between these 2 characters, and he's basically chasing after her. And I don't know, the storyline was just very boring, and like I could not care about these characters. I didn't care if they ended up together. There was no connection between these 2 besides having a physical attraction with each other. The only thing that was good about this book, in my opinion, was the spice. Like Tessa Bailey always writes good spice, and this book definitely has good spice, but other than that, this book was just not for me. I've read quite a few Tessa Bailey books already, and a lot of her books I've really enjoyed, but this one was very disappointing in my opinion. I gave this one 2 stars. Then guys, I finally started the Knockemout series. I read Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, and I'm so glad that I finally started this series because I am invested. I cannot wait to continue on with the other 2 books. This is a small town grumpy sunshine romance, and I was obsessed with the small town of Knockemout. Like it just gave cozy wholesome vibes, and the side characters were everything. I loved all the side characters. I loved the side plots that were also involved in this book. Like this is more than a romance book, which I really enjoyed. Basically you follow Knox and Naomi. Naomi has an evil twin sister who calls Naomi saying she's in trouble. Can you please meet me at this small town that I'm staying? Naomi, being the good twin sister that she is, comes down, tries to meet up with Tina, her twin sister, and her twin sister steals her car and her money, and turns out she has a kid and basically leaves her kid with Naomi. So Naomi is now stuck in this small town. She's also a runaway bride, which was a really interesting plot line in itself as well. And now she's stuck in a small town with no money and a niece that she never even knew existed, an 11-year-old niece that she didn't know existed. And everyone in this small town hates Naomi's twin, and she's like trying to prove that she's the good twin, like she's nothing like her sister. And then she meets Knox. They get off on the wrong foot. He's very grumpy, but he just cannot help himself with helping her out. He basically gives her a place to stay and makes her feel welcome and takes her around, literally goes shopping with her. Normally I also don't really like kids in books, but I feel like in this book, Naomi's niece, who's basically like her adopted daughter, was just the best. She was so funny, she was so cute. I just loved her, and I loved seeing their relationship. So Naomi and her niece's relationship develop as well, how that progressed through the story. This is probably one of my favorite, or if not my most favorite, small town romance, like as in small town, that I've like read about. Like it was just so good, and like it just had so many different plot lines going that it just kept me hooked the entire time. It's like 500 pages long, but it doesn't feel like 500 pages. I really enjoyed this book. It was so close to being 5 stars, but it didn't quite give me that 5-star feeling. So I rated this one 4.5 stars. Definitely recommend if you guys haven't read this already. I cannot wait to read Things We Hide from the Light, which I actually have on my bookshelf. So excited to see Lena and Nash's story, but yeah, this one was just so good. And then last but not least, this was high priority on my TBR for October. I read 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. Holly Jackson is the author that wrote the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, which is one of my favorite murder mystery series of all time. It is so freaking good. I always talk about it. And she came out with 5 Survive last year, and I was saving this for October because I wanted to read it in October for the spooky thriller vibes. This definitely delivered on that. This book is really cool because it is spanned out in 8 hours, and the book is split up into 8 parts, which is the 8-hour time frame, and it's all set in this RV with 6 friends, which was so cool. So these 6 friends are driving in an RV, and the RV breaks down in the middle of nowhere. But the thing is, the 6 friends in the RV aren't alone. There's someone basically out there trying to kill them, or not really trying to kill them, but they're trying to find a secret that one of them has. Obviously now they're stuck in this RV. They got to figure out who has the secret, what the secret is, what this person wants to know from them. And that was just very interesting. All 6 characters were so different, so that was like really interesting to kind of read about, and also trying to figure out what the secret is. The plot twist, Holly Jackson always does a really good plot twist. The only thing is, unlike the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, this book did take me quite a while for me to really get into the story. The first 100 pages felt like it really dragged on, and I was like panicking because I was like, oh no, I really hope I start getting into this story, because this thriller doesn't really feel as thrilling, because the first 100 pages was really hard for me to get into. But then when I got into it, I could not stop reading. I literally binged the entire thing because I could not put it down. After you get past 100 pages, it was so good. So if you start reading this book and you're feeling like this is really boring for me, hold on, keep at it, because it gets so good and so interesting. You get so fully invested after you get through those 100 pages. I really enjoyed it. Obviously not as amazing as the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy. I feel like nothing can top that series for me, but I still did enjoy this book. The ending, honestly, it reminded me so much of As Good as Dead and how that book ended. So I hate open endings when it comes to books, especially thrillers. So I really hope there's some kind of, you know, extended epilogue or bonus chapter, something of that sort, because I really just want to know what happens like after that. Like I need closure. But all in all, I decided to rate this book 4 out of 5 stars. So those were all 4 books that I read in the month of October. I know 4 books doesn't really seem like a lot, but honestly, I'm pretty happy with the amount of books that I read in October, because it's always quality over quantity. And even though I didn't find a 5-star read for this month, I had 3 out of the 4 books that I read be really good, like between 4 to 4.5 stars, which is so good. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this October reading wrap up. Like I said, my November TBR is already up, so go check that out if you guys want to see what books are on my TBR for November. And give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below as well. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye!